Well, a few days ago, Alex and I were telling you guys about BBC Pop-Up and that they were touring Tucson. You weren't here yet, Heather, but we were totally stalking them. Well, Alex reached out to the guys and asked if they would actually stop in and tell us what they've learned about our lovely city.
It's BBC's first ever mobile bureau, and it's traveling from city to city, unearthing stories that their audiences want to see. So Benjamin Zahn and Matt Danzico are here to tell us about their time here in Tucson. Gentlemen, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time to come visit us today. I know you have a very busy schedule.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Now, we all know and love BBC, of course. Will you tell us a little bit about BBC Pop-Up?
So BBC Pop-Up, as you said, is the company's first mobile bureau. So we have 44 foreign bureaus throughout the world, but we didn't have one that could relocate based upon need, right? And so that's exactly what this is. We're going around the country for 6 months as an experiment of the first mobile bureau, and we're doing stories that people suggest to us. So we're making mini documentaries based upon the community's recommendations.
Well, where have you already been? Because I know we're the fifth stop, right?
Yep, fifth stop. So we've been to Boulder, Colorado, we've been to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, we've been to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, we've been to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So we've been like the complete length and breadth across America to like every kind of corner.
Well, and I know you said people give you story ideas, but how did you pick where to go?
That's a good question. So I'll let Matt answer the first one because Boulder, Colorado is.
So it's kind of the city has to meet 3 criteria. Okay. That is, it has to have a good university. That has a solid journalism program because we're teaching at local universities, free classes, free journalism classes. The other is the population has to be between about 100,000 to 500,000. 500, 600,000. That is, we have found that that's like, we need density of the city without it going beyond basically 1 million, where we sort of get lost in the noise. The project gets lost in the noise. So population, and the third is just some sort of issue that's slightly contentious within the city's borders that we could definitely do a story on.
And it's worth saying that finding cities is possibly the most difficult part of the entire thing.
Is it really?
We spend so long, because there's so many cities that come into that category and we sit there like researching every form of research you could possibly do, looking at all these cities, and there's like 1 billion of them that we could possibly go to, and they're all simultaneously awesome. So that's probably the most difficult thing.
Well, I'm very honored that Tucson got picked.
Yeah.
And we were commenting how weird it must be for you going from South Dakota to Arizona.
Yeah.
I mean, the climate alone. Now, you are saying that you're getting the stories from the actual people in the community. Tell us a little bit how you're doing that.
So as you can see right now, I can see it's on the screen. And we went to a local farmers market, for example. We host a community meetup where we ask locals from the community to come out and meet up usually. But this month we decided to switch it up, and we went to places where people already were to try and speak to a kind of a wide range of people in the community. We went to the farmers market, then we went to La Chicanos Por la Causa, I think it is.
Hey, nice.
So we can get, there you go, see. So we could get like a kind of mixture of the community. Obviously, this place has a huge Hispanic population. And we just spoke to as many people as we possibly could and just heard as many ideas as we possibly could. And then it kind of extends to social media. People tweet us, people send us Facebook messages. And when we teach the classes, we allow them to give us suggestions. We go to coffee shops and allow people to speak to us. So it basically never ends. And we just constantly want people to give us ideas.
Well, just stalking you guys a little bit online, I saw you guys did everything from immigration to bicycling all the way to trailer parks.
Yeah, and
which is very wide.
And we're looking at Vatican astrophysicists also.
Oh.
So we're doing a story looking at the marriage of science and religion, or the intersection of science and religion here in Tucson. If you didn't know it, there's Vatican priests who work at the Vatican who are also astrophysicists sitting in your mountains, looking at other inhabitable worlds.
We've actually had them on the show before, and they are actually really funny.
They are fantastic.
Yeah, isn't that so? They blew me away.
Very interesting guys, and so we're looking into that as well.
Wow, very cool. Okay, I want to talk a little bit more about your time here in Tucson. And you had the opportunity to go to OK Corral down in Tombstone. What did you think of the Wild West?
And what did you think?
Yeah, well, so I always say, you chose me. So I always say that each place I go to, I leave my preconceptions to when I arrived, and basically they change every single hour. The Wild West was awesome. That was an amazing experience. I was saying to Matt, can we stay here for a few days, because the actual scenery is incredible, like the history of Tombstone and Tucson itself. Like I love Tucson. Tucson has so much history, but yeah, the Wild West is amazing. I didn't watch many Wild West films growing up, so it was an interesting experience.
Ben was going crazy. I had to actually, we had another appointment, and I had to like drag Ben.
We need to go. I was like, no.
We have another thing to film. Like, we need to go. He's like, no, just one more shot of a cowboy. Just one more shot.
So, yeah, so it's basically something we definitely don't have in where I'm from in Liverpool.
And you got to see some of the gunfighting?
Yeah.
We got them to tell us the history of the state.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
We wrote a script, and we asked the cowboys to basically read out our script about the history of Arizona.
Which was also hilarious.
It was very hilarious.
Yeah, and so you turned into like 12-year-old Ben. You were
Yeah, exactly.
You were like,
I was like,
We were having them to pretending to shoot at the camera, and
exactly.
It was quite.
The best bit was when he was like, adios.
Yeah, we had him say adios, BBC pop-up, and roll his gun.
oh, that's awesome.
It's a good
Well, so do you already know where you're going from? I mean, Tucson's the best, obviously, we think, but where are you going next?
So next is Tacoma, Washington. And again, it took us about a week and a half to make this decision to go to Tacoma, Washington.
Yeah.
Maybe longer than that. And but Tacoma is a really interesting city. I mean, it has a population that's the size of basically Pittsburgh, sitting on the south end of Seattle. Huge issues like union rights related to dock workers. Logging is huge there. I mean, the hugely racially diverse city.
Yeah,
and I mean, the gang violence is massive at the moment in Tacoma. So, we've had a great time here in Tucson reporting on some really fun issues to report on, but there's, we're the BBC, and we do really serious stories despite what we're talking about. So we have to go do some of those next.
But I think that's great. You guys get to do a little bit of everything on this, 6-stop tour that you guys are doing, and I'm glad you guys are here today because I know EG's is going to be on later on in the show, and you guys couldn't leave Tucson without having some of, something local like that. So you guys are going to leave on the best foot ever. Cool. So thank you guys so much. Where are you guys going today? Where are we going to see? Are you guys going to film today?
Yeah, so we're actually we basically have to finish our documentary, which is going to be on Tucson. So we have 2 more films coming out. One on the Vatican Observatory, one on the Mexican American identity here. So I'm doing a story on Mexican American identity and partially immigration, and then we have a full documentary that's going to go out onto BBC World News, and you can see all of our videos on bbc.com/popup. So what we're doing today is sitting in a dark room for hours on a computer, editing and drinking lots of coffee.
It's our favorite thing.
Your favorite thing. Well, thank you guys both so much. I know you guys are on a tight schedule again, but I'm glad you guys stopped in.
No, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Well, we're going to be following the BBC Pop-Up team on their journey by watching their stories on BBC World News TV and by logging onto their website. Go to bbc.com/popup. Like we mentioned, they're producing a full documentary on Tucson, so make sure to check their site in the next few weeks.